Hey everybody, welcome to Lattes, Listings, and Life. I have a good friend and a very big important person on today, Michael Altneu, who is head of Coldwell Banker Global Luxury. It's his pride and joy, it's his baby, and we're here to talk about everything about it and how he came to be to where it is now and where they're trying to get to in the future. So I'm very excited for today. So without any further ado, thank you, Michael. Thank you for being on. Thank you for taking the time today. I am very excited to get going with this. So,
Are you kidding? I'm so happy. When you asked me to do this, I'm thrilled. I'm honored to be part of this. I am just thrilled to be part of this. So thank you. It's amazing. I love this. So it's an
absolutely.
honor.
All right, so let's start from the beginning at least. Where'd you come from? Where were you born? Like, what were your aspirations growing up? Because I didn't think that many people had aspirations to be
To be in
within
real
this
estate?
big
No.
company. Yeah.
I did not. In fact, I kind of all right. So I grew up in New Jersey. I'm born and raised in New Jersey, which is actually where I currently am right now. I'm in New Jersey. So I'm a Jersey boy. You could take the boy out of Jersey, but you can't take Jersey out of the boy. That's there. I still have my 201 area code. Shout out to everyone who still does. So born and raised on the East Coast. I give you my little origin story. I got my bachelor's in economics out here, actually. I transferred to a school called Ramapo College because I was super involved in being an EMT when I was younger. So I was an EMT from ages 17 to 27. That was volunteer out here. After college, and I'll tell you kind of how I got into real estate. I always was, listen, I loved college, but I was like ready to get out and work. Like, you know me, I'm like, I
Yes.
want to make a name for myself. So I asked my mom, I'm like, do you know anyone who is hiring someone? And so I basically asked her, and she's like, well, I asked my friend Susan and stuff, and I became an admin on a new development site for Douglas Elliman.
Incredible.
Wait,
That,
I mean, that was in, geez, wait, Nick, it was like 2006 or something like
oh
that.
wow. So just before everything like shot up and then just came crumbling down.
So I
Wow.
was there for a little bit. Things came down. I pivoted into a different part of the industry. I built my way up. I got back into that company on the
Right
corporate
on.
level, built my way back up, and ended up being like SVP of marketing with their new development group. I moved out to
At Element.
California at Douglas Elliman.
Oh
I moved
wow.
out to California with them. I helped start the new development division out in California. And we had the largest mixed use development on the West Coast because that was my bread and butter. It was like on the pre concept development of those pieces, then eventually to the sales aspect and to the marketing. Post Douglas Elliman, I did some consulting, I did some PR development, had a creative agency with a friend. Um, and then here since okay, wait, July of 2021 is when I joined
Oh
CG.
really? Wow.
Yeah, July of 2021. It feels like longer, doesn't it?
Well, because I joined Coldwell out here the very end of March of 21.
Oh, so we're very close.
Yeah, so I thought that you've already been at Coldwell for a while. Wow, okay.
No. I remember when I first met you too. I remember at the conference where I first met you.
I was like, oh, who's this? And everyone's like, this is the guy that runs the whole pro. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Who's this guy on stage talking?
But there's so many people within Coldwell that I've done that with. And I'm just like, I have no idea who you are, but you're just a lot of fun to be around. So that's really cool.
We have fun. And I have a great team too. I mean, I have to say,
Yeah.
like, there's an amazing team that supports luxury. It's like me, and there's tons of people. So there's a great support system. And so we have fun with it.
So,
But it's
you
me in a
know,
nutshell.
fair, but that's very much so the accurate word of very much so a nutshell. So, with one of your friends and coworker, David Marine, do you, since I know that he started growing and gotten, well, I can't really say it in that way. I know that he's growing within the company. So, do you guys still see each other very often and everything like that?
Absolutely. He's amazing. So he's CMO for the Anywhere brands, and
Okay.
he's fantastic. So he still is involved in Coldwell Banker. And I joke around, I'm like, your heart's always still in CB because he's been with CB for, I mean, he was with CB for, I mean, I think it was over 20 years. I mean, it was
Let's say, yeah.
a very long time. So he's still very involved with what we do. We have a new VP of marketing. His name is Brandon, and he's amazing. He comes from a luxury background as well. So he and David and we all kind of chat a lot. And oh yeah, David and I talk often. And I joke, right? He just moved into a new house. We always talk about all the different stuff. Yeah, he's great. He
Okay.
knows a lot more about sports. I know nothing. So he's the sports guy. I'm the guy who will watch the commercials.
So I'm gonna have to get on Instagram or something and reach out to see who he's gonna be going for this week, and either the Eagles or the Chiefs, unless you know.
I don't know. That's a good question. You know what? I feel like he's posted about it, but I don't know. I don't know when it's this weekend too. I'll
Yeah,
find out after this call.
I
It's a
have
good
like a whole
question.
day packed already. I'm making hats in the morning and then I'm watching the game in the afternoon. So I'm
I'm
like,
going to my
okay,
friend's place. I'm like, I'm gonna just go over and watch the game. And who's doing the Super Bowl? The halftime. I mean, do we need?
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh wow,
I really hope he plays his song. I really hope he plays his song.
doing that. I didn't know that. Wow, I've really been out of touch with what's going.
I mean, I had to look it up and everything else. I didn't know that there's like, I think SZA might be coming out on stage as well with him. Like, there's a whole bunch of people that you're going to be like, okay, if these people are on, I might actually watch this year. So,
It's amazing. It's
all
great.
right.
I'll be
So,
watching it.
I mean, it's going to be kind of hard not to, I feel. But anyway, so from a corporate perspective, what do you see the biggest challenges and opportunities in the luxury market and the luxury real estate market today?
It really there's a few questions. It kind of depends on the location. I think a lot of it is location specific. I think that, you're going to go to certain areas and you're going to find that inventory still is a huge challenge. I think in certain parts of the world that holds true. In certain parts, places are doing incredible. Um, and not only that, I think it also comes down to the right type of inventory when you go to certain markets. I think, while there is inventory, it's not necessarily the desirable inventory. But,
Yeah.
I think what also happens is too, even with rates being higher, it still affects the luxury market. Buyers are more discerning. There's more choices now. We've seen some relief in inventory in certain places, but there's more choices, there's more options, and buyers kind of have a little bit more of that edge in certain places.
Hmm.
So there's just more to choose from, So I think at the end of the day, it's having that kind of desirable type of inventory. There's, I really do say it's market specific because certain quarters are incredibly favorable towards certain regions. You see Miami had an unbelievable year in places, and then certain quarters it changed. But if you look at other places like in New England, they've always had an amazing go. Like there's parts even in New Jersey here that have done unbelievably well, and there's still such a finite amount of homes. Then you look at other areas that are just totally different. So I would
Yeah.
say there's no norm across all the locations. It really kind of comes down to what's available and the opportunity there. I think that's probably the biggest challenge, is what I would say,
And like those
is
cream puffs are really kind of the ones that you're really starting to see that just go still just instantly.
well, you know what it comes down to as well, too, especially a property that is a uniquely distinct property that has the opportunity aspect to it. Those, can't be replicated, can't be duplicated, those can't be repeated type things will always perform in an exceptional manner. I mean, you and I know luxury. The luxury buyer many times is wanting to add to their portfolio and they want to add a gem. If the opportunity exists, that's going to drive it. It's the opportunity for that sector. The luxury buyer can be more discerning,
Oh, for
comes down to
sure.
lifestyle, comes down to preferences. So if there's that gem of an opportunity, that will many times outperform existing inventory, those, can't be repeated um,
Yeah.
type houses or properties.
No, totally. And even one of my clients who he has a place out east and now he just bought a piece of land up in Winter Park. So I kept telling him, I'm like, listen, this is where you want to be. You want to get in early on a place. This is your early place because in 2 years, 3 years, when you're done and you're moved in, everything else is going to be built up or be built to that.
Yes. Yes. And that's
So,
it. That's it. It's the opportunity. It's also understanding too what type of opportunity is needed. Some of these buyers,
sorry, the AI, so it just ships
AI
everywhere.
moved you.
I
I don't
know.
know how it doesn't do that to me,
Oh,
but
do
we
you have the
try.
Instant 360? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're
Yeah.
fine. I was like, it's not moving my camera, but I wanted to. I was trying to do it outside of the frame, but I move around a lot anyway. Um, like it also comes to the unique subset of that luxury buyer. There's some who are in it for an investment purpose and they'll rent it and they'll get income from that. There's some who will do it on that front. There's some that will, as this maybe that's their primary luxury purchase. If they need a place that fits all the boxes, and it will need to be near a certain location, or it can be remote. I think it comes down to the individual buyer and the needs of that luxury consumer, so to speak. But it's so many different preferences, so many
True.
different
Well,
preferences.
with talking with preferences, the trends report came out. So when it comes to those high net worth individuals or those luxury buyers in general, what are you seeing those trends and what are you seeing them trending towards? I mean, I just saw some of the color trends that are now starting to come out and things like that. So what are
Yes,
you seeing within that report? Since not everyone gets the report
not
necessarily.
everyone gets it. They should get that report. They
That's
should
very
get
true.
that report. The trends that we've outlined, there's 5 or 6 trends that are outlined in there. There's a demographic section on there, and it talks kind of about Gen X and she elites and how women are driving a huge force in the luxury sector, which I think is amazing and I love. A part of it also talks about kind of where people are leaving from the most in a country wise and where they are coming to. Towards the end of the report is a graph kind of like where they're leaving the most. And you'll notice there's countries in there that are actually really surprising. So if you haven't seen this yet, like take a look at where it is
Yeah.
in there. But then it also talks about the right amount of inventory and the right amount of construction, the right type of property. Last year we looked and there was a lot of branded residences that were doing incredibly well. They still are doing incredibly well. You look at some of the New York ones with a hotel flag associated for that.
Yeah.
But I'll pull it up on the side while I'm talking to you. But it's kind of like the right type of inventory is what I always kind of say.
Yeah.
Here, there's a positive outlook for things this year. Indoor, outdoor, value-driven luxury here, location drivers. And I want to just pull up this graph while I'm talking to you as well, too, because I
Yeah.
think it's important to kind of like note where people are coming from and where they're leaving from. But one of the sections in there is really kind of about that. Here it is, kind of top 10 countries projected net arrivals and net departures. And per this graph, per our data, it showed them the most people were leaving China and the UK, and arriving to the most was the UAE and the United States. And actually, the UAE outperformed the US.
I was gonna say, I've heard the UAE is just on this tear for one, expats, two, more Western citizens actually moving over there because if you have $1 million, let's say, you can go and buy a place for $800,000 and you can live for 5 years easily on
Yes,
that $200,000,
yes,
that extra.
it's unbelievable. It's really in more ways than I can imagine. That area has gone onto the market in a very big way. I always think it was a driver for the ultra high net worth. You look at this ultra prime cities, and you look at kind of like Dubai came to mind,
Yep,
but there are so many other locations in the UAE that have spurred this new type of activity, and the construction is unbelievable. I mean, it's
it's incredible. You look at it and you're like,
unbelievable.
wait, you can build that?
It's unbelievable. I mean, there's just it's like unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, it really is incredible.
Have you been?
So I'd love to visit it one day.
Oh my God, it is. I absolutely love Dubai. I've been there like 6 or 8 times flying through, but
So,
absolutely the most amazing time. I mean, everybody there is very friendly. I mean, if you stay at one of the Burj hotels or anything like that, yeah, like the sailboat, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I usually stay there. The rates actually are not terrible, to be honest. They really are not terrible.
okay, okay. I
But
did not know
you
that.
get access to all the other ones, and like they'll get you on like a little golf cart, and they'll take you around to all the other ones. It's almost like a Disney cruise. It seems like it is absolutely amazing how they do everything because you can charge whatever food and any of these like 10 mile stretch of hotels charge any of your food just back to your room because you're all part of the Burj Hotel. It's
Amazing.
absolutely incredible with what they've done over there. And just like the advancements, whether it's the desalination plants or whatever, like the technology between the UAE and Dubai and everything, and all the progression that's happening in Israel from like the medical standpoint, it's mind blowing.
Mind
That
blowing.
whole sector is just taken over, I feel, for most of what we use in the day-to-day stuff.
It's mind blowing.
It
There's
is.
also a section too that kind of like talks about that as well too, and it's called like the cleverly curated new construction. And it's not just like a new construction that's built in a certain way. It's the ones that adapt to the preferences and the lifestyle and the amenity sections. And it's not just buildings, that's the homes. And there's a whole section that is in their report about the elements that go into that cleverly curated, say that 10 times fast, new
Yeah.
construction. That to me, that part, I've always, every time we put out this report, there are some similarities in certain, aspects, but then the demographic drivers to me are the biggest ones, the location pieces, and then the new construction element to me is paramount because I really do feel that after COVID, there's so many elements that never before needed to be in homes are just kind of paramount. And there, I think it really changed our perception and our purchasing behavior permanently. So Always interesting to see those trends. But yeah, it just came out
So do
a
you
month
think
ago.
we're going to start seeing more of those trends, say, like in places like Denver, where is that newer city that's really just kind of picking up, really just starting to pop off in terms of those aspects?
I think that locations that haven't yet seen it will. I think there are certain locations that do it well. And once you see in certain markets, buildings and locations perform well,
Hmm.
it also then kind of triggers to other locations. This is, in my opinion, we're going to look to do something similar. Now, the other part of this too is, when someone is purchasing a building and there's certain lifestyles and attributes and components, they'll want something similar in other locations. That's kind of why the curated, hotel developments do so well. And you have those hotel flags when you go to a Four Seasons or a Mandarin or even a residence is attached to it. There's a level of distinct service, and that's why you see them opening in so many places. So I think to me, yeah, if they haven't already seen it in Denver, I'd have to do more research on specifically. But if they don't have certain residences and there's a demand for it, that'll kind of just follow the progression of what people want,
Yeah, fair.
you know?
Very fair. All righty, you ready for the global luxury strategies?
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
What's your vision for global luxury over the next, let's say, 5 years? And with that, how does global luxury differentiate itself from, let's say, the Sotheby's and the Compasses, and here, a more local brand of a luxury standpoint is Kentwood? How does global luxury stand apart, and what's the differentiation when we talk about it? Because I know how I feel about it, but from your standpoint, what do you see the future of it being, and then also, what is the differentiation?
Sure, definitely. So to me, the benefit that I always loved for the Global Luxury program is that it's a subset within Coldwell Banker. There's the ability to take advantage of the main brand. There's the ability to take advantage of the luxury brand. There's kind of two distinct pieces that work beautifully and perfectly together. And it offers options to you as an agent, as to a consumer. And there's even a commercial aspect to this too. So, you have the main brand, you have the luxury brand, you have the commercial aspect. It all kind of flows underneath this one value proposition. And to me, that's huge. You can take a consumer and have every aspect that they're looking for under one brand. That's an amazing differentiator.
Yeah.
When it comes to global luxury, I'm in a very, very unique and great subset because you're working with unbelievable, exceptional properties across the world. And notably, they get a lot of press attention
Yeah.
compared to other properties by nature of the fact that many of them are incredibly unique and they are the ones that drive a lot of the press. In this program, specifically for this year, we're looking at an entirely new way of doing things when it comes to the experiences that agents get, from the experience that a consumer receives, to all of the materials, the benefits, adding additional education components. We are rebuilding this program from the ground up. I wouldn't even say rebuilding. We're just rethinking everything that exists. We have an unbelievable, amazing program. We're looking for ways to challenge what we've done, to not just follow the original path, but to also do things in a very different and competitive way.
Fair.
Again, you're out there meeting with a client, and they many times are meeting with multiple different brokerages, and you need all of those different, those differentiators to really snag that listing. At the end of the day, they're meeting with you and they want you, but you need certain pieces to get you into the door. How can we continue the conversation with clients post the close of a sale? How can we do things differently than before? The trend report is a great example, but this year you're going to see a variety of new tools and new services. You're going to see existing pieces rethought and reimagined, and you're going to see new experiences. You're going to see the experiential aspect go into it in a big way.
And those are one of their, and that's what you do essentially to implement is the innovation of the technology, but also what our customers get and our clients get at that and that too. And so doing those, that's your pride and joy. It's how can I make your experience through my agents, how can I make your experience that much better?
It's also, the part that I love about it too is I love being able to meet with agents and seeing them go into that sector and, saying, because of this, I was able to take that next step, or I was able to increase my average sales price. I was able to see the results driven by what you're offering.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, I love that part of it. Now, the other part is too, we have an incredible history, so you have a history of a brand that transcends decades. So, how do you take that history and weave it into a story that goes for, the next 10, 20 years and will stand the test of time. That's part of it as well too. So how are we telling our story in a way that differentiates us? How are we doing it so that it speaks to audiences across multiple varieties of lifestyle platforms and luxury avenues. So it's a challenge that I love to do. It's something that excites me. It's something that myself and Brandon and others are committed to in a very big way this year.
Yeah.
And just like, other companies that, I always like to say like everyone kind of like fits into this ecosphere in a
Hmm.
very, very unique way. I many times will look at what another brand does and I'll compliment them. I'll say that's amazing, wish I thought of that first. But but that's kind of what happens. We all work in a way where I'm challenged seeing what they're doing, and then I'm thinking, how can I do that differently and better or in a unique way? So I think that there's, to me, the competitive aspect challenges me in a very big way. And I think that that's the part that makes it fun, you know? And like you challenge yourself in all new ways. I mean, what you've done,
Trying.
you are. You
That's
are.
and so I'm happy about that.
You are. You are. What you're doing is amazing. I've seen it from since I met you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's the truth.
So, talking about some of those innovations, and if you can talk about it in terms of Coldwell and either the whole company or the global luxury sector or either in between, what is it that we're doing or you're doing in the technology space? And is it something more like AI that you're trying to reintroduce into us, or in those capacities, what are the technologies that you're seeing that you're like, I really want to get in there. I really want to jump on this because I think this would be a huge asset for our agents.
Yeah.
And it's social media too, because I mean that kind of I feel plays a role in there as well.
Yeah. I think, it's such a good question. And had you asked this question to me like 2 weeks ago, it probably would be a different answer than today. That's how quickly the technology changes. I
Yeah.
think we can't discount the fact that AI is here in an enormous way, but it's what tools can AI do to simplify the experience? It will never get rid of the experience that a client and an agent have. It's the most important decision of someone's life. But how is AI changing the conversation and how is it changing how consumers are finding you?
Hmm.
How is it changing, how is it allowing you to do the things that might have been more menial in task and kind of more mundane and allow you to focus on the bigger picture. To me, those are the pieces that I love the most. And I know for a fact that we've done and we're continuing to innovate on. If you look at what we've done in Marketing Center and custom video and simplifying these
Yeah.
pieces, we have an unbelievable product team that is committed to an entirely new wave of technology and advances that support the needs of our agents and obviously with our consumers too. But to
Totally.
me, the technology aspect is massive. And social media continues to change. I think I often get this question, which platform and which not. Social media is really, it's so powerful. It's a resource that I think everyone should be doing. It's a resource that to me almost is like a qualifier, meaning you go to someone's website, okay, number one, but aren't you also then visiting someone's social media to kind of get it to know a little bit more about them?
Yeah, I
No,
do.
I do. I mean, I do. I don't know. Maybe it's like it's our age or it's what we're doing. We're at that. It's kind of like this qualifier. It's like one thing tells a story, and then the
Right.
other piece is like, well, who do you know? What have you been doing? Do I have this connection? You know this person, and it's kind of this relationship mapping. So I tend to look at social media like this, almost this qualifier of connection building.
Yeah.
It is. It's. I mean, how often are you going to a social page almost before a website?
Always. Personally, I'm always going there. Like if I hear someone's name, I'm like, oh, okay, are you on Instagram?
On
Let me jump on
Instagram,
there.
yeah, how many posts you have, how many followers. There's so many things that go into it, so
Yeah.
that's the behavior of this. I mean, I think AI too. I mean, I look at AI and what it's doing. I mean, I have Apple AI on, I think we all on our phones now too. And there's summary features and things, so it's making your life easier, which is very interesting to me. I did write something recently that I put on LinkedIn, which was how is it going to change open rates for digital? Meaning,
I've saved it. I haven't read it yet. I've saved
ah, haven't
it.
memorized it? No, I'm joking. It's
No.
basically you get summaries now. Like, is the summary compelling enough to open email blasts? So I challenge agents to say, are you sending something out that the summary is captivating enough for you to want to open that email?
See, and that's
That's
what I'm trying to do within the AI. I'm trying to figure out, okay, I have this email. I'm fine with the email. Now I need the subject line to be so engaging that that person really wants to click on it. And I think that that's where, or I feel that's where I think our struggles are going to start coming into play, is
that's
how
it.
are we going to get that kind of engagement?
That's it. I do that with everything I send out too. I always try to think of unique subject lines, what we tested and plan it because I mean we get a lot of emails. We get a lot thrown at us.
Oh my gosh.
A
You guys
lot.
probably get a lot more than I do, but yes, we get a lot.
It's different. It's categorized pretty well.
I'm not getting emailed from Kamini Lane or anybody like that by any means.
You're not. We'll get
No, I
everyone emailing
know.
you. We'll get everyone emailing you.
Perfect. That kind of goes into my next question is how would someone go about, or what do you see from your friends or other realtors throughout the country or the world? How are you seeing that they're connecting or getting in front of some of those high net worth individuals? Because there's a bunch of people that are trying to jump into that market, and I do, but I don't get into like the Jade Mills and some of these people that I and women that I'm just like, oh my God, you guys are absolutely incredible, both on and off screen, let's say.
Yeah.
So what would you say? What's one or a couple ways that you can market this to that group?
They are out there every single day, building their sphere, meeting with people, out to dinners. I mean, there is not almost a night that goes by where these people are not doing something that engages with someone in their network and staying front of mind. Besides the fact of being involved in local organizations and charities and things where these consumers are and where there's constant connections,
Hmm.
there's just this constant reinforcement to their own sphere. Aside from that, I think also too that they are constantly they're with people, they're looking at comps, they're more than looking at comps, they know every deal in and out.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, when it's that space, like if you look at someone like Jade or Ricardo or anyone, Jade, I will quote her on this, and I know and I love what she does is in between appointments, she will call her assistant and she will go through her contacts almost from A to Z, like get through as much as she can, just connecting and reaching people and talking about nothing but just how can I, what's new? How are things? Staying front of mind. Listen, there's a lot more that kind of goes into this than just obviously building out your connections in your sphere. But I think they do an unbelievable job of staying right at the forefront. And, oh, you know what? Actually, I need to connect you with this person. I need to do this. I need to do this, and letting that go there.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of them have teams too. Some have incredible teams. And I'll say that, those team members are really just so great with articulating their value and they're using their sphere. So you take that amount of people and you multiply it by these team members.
Yeah.
Um, and everyone's doing that in such a different and unique way. But I think that at the end of the day, they are staying true to what they do. They are out there constantly just being with people and staying top of mind.
Hmm.
And the other piece I think is they are staying on top of their game when it comes to knowing the market. When I say knowing the market, it's every sale, every price point, every high-end listing, every blip in the radar, if you want to call it that, that is driving that sector. So when they're meeting with people, it's kind of just this real-time information and knowledge that they're pulling up quite quickly.
Gotcha. Wow.
So it's a
Yes.
lot, but I mean that's what I see continually across that board.
Gotcha. And especially with Jade, because you and Jade are pretty close as well. You guys have known each other for years now,
I love
right?
her. She's my family. Her whole
Yeah.
family is my family. Her whole family is my family.
I know, like I see you guys all the time when you guys are together. I'm like, he's just literally part of the family. Like he is
She's amazing.
truly
She's
the
part of my
family.
family too. I mean, she's amazing. She's incredible. She's
She
amazing. And
really
I
is.
learn so much from her. I
So
learn
she's the $9 billion woman now, or
9
9 billion?
billion, 9
Is
billion,
is it?
9 billion, 9 billion.
It's incredible, and she is so humble.
So humble.
She's she's like my good friend Scott. I mean, yes, they're high net worth individuals, but they are very humble. They don't have ego, they don't have all this other stuff. Like you can go up, I didn't even realize who her husband was, and I was talking to her for like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense now.
They're all so lovely. She's so humble and she's so caring. And The one thing I will say with like the agents in our company is everyone is really willing to help someone else. And you'll
Exactly.
constantly see them taking calls with people and who reach out, I want to know how you do this and that.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. When you can meet with people and say, let me help you impart some wisdom, let me chat with you about how I've done this. And my gosh, it goes a long way. I love talking to agents myself, but when you hear from someone like her or any of the top people in our company who are actually out there every single day, I mean, it goes beyond, goes
Yeah.
beyond anything I could sometimes do, basically.
Fair.
Basically.
So
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Some, sometimes.
So, in your role, what are some challenges that you face? But then, what are some of the most rewarding aspects that you've seen or that you have faced?
I think when I look at challenges to me, I'll just take a look at like last year.
Yeah.
Last year was a challenging year in general because of changes to buyer company, all these different things, the NAR ruling. There were so many pieces. And then you look at interest rates, inventory, higher prices than normal. It's just, there's a lot of challenges. So to me, the challenges I find are sometimes like specific to the quarter that we're in and what is the biggest obstacle in the industry. I don't think for the past few years we've really had like a free floating type year where it's kind of just been, hey, status quo.
Yeah.
That's not been the name of the game. So the challenge to me is, how do we take what we've done and make sure it is meeting the needs of people like you and everyone who is in the company? How are those pieces addressing the needs of what you want and what you need on a daily basis? So the challenge to me is like, how do I quickly and thoughtfully adapt to the biggest industry challenges?
Mhm.
Now, the most rewarding piece for me is when those adaptations come through and when people can come back to me and say, because of this, I got X, because of this was the biggest sale I've had. The trend report I've heard, a few people used it in certain ways and they said that they've got the biggest sale of their lifetime. Then people come back to me and say, it's gotten me into a whole new business. Listening to the course has made me think about things differently. So when I hear individual stories, I love that. I love being able to understand that, like, at least maybe I've made the difference. I hope I can. Maybe my team has made the difference. We've made the difference. But to be able to see the impact on an individual level to me goes beyond any numbers that we can put out. When someone says you made the difference, that's it. Um, so it's to say what's going to happen this year. Like all things look for luxury to be a bright spot and such, but we're not without our challenges. This
Right.
industry is not without obstacles. So it's
Yeah.
we continue to face those obstacles and win and conquer through them. Kind of
Yeah.
like, how do you run towards, you don't fear the change, you don't fear the obstacles, you run towards it and you do it better. You run
Exactly.
towards it and you succeed. That's the
Right.
biggest way.
Face it and you got it, pretty much.
You face it and you got it. You get, kind of like when certain things come out, I say, okay, we have 24 hours to kind of be, oh, okay. Then we go into how do we do better? What do we do? You get your 24 hours, and after that, nope. Now it's into the next piece. Okay, you get your piece. We talk about it. We say, oh my goodness, this, da, da, da. Nope. Okay, now let's go into now let's figure out how to conquer this. Is what
Yeah.
we. That's how
Okay.
we change.
So I have two more questions. One of them I kind of went over on accident, but
Yep.
with some of these very well-known agents or knowing some of these very well-known agents, whether they're friends at other companies or if they're here at like the Jade Mills within our company, where there's some leadership styles and some leadership aspects and qualities that they have that you've taken, and if so, how have you taken it and how have you implemented it?
That's such a good question. I look at the way that they present and the way that they articulate their value, and I use that in what I do. I think I'm pretty animated. I'm pretty. I get excited quite easily. I love that. That's kind of me. When I look at them, there's this huge book of business, but then at the end of the day, there's this personal experience with every person in that business. And it's you don't get to those places without these individual connections
Right.
being so sincere, so valid, and the way that these clients have just yearned to be with them after the sale. It's not just a transaction, it's a lifelong experience and relationship. I try to do that in what I do. We're a very large company. I can't meet every agent. People see my face more than I see their face, just by nature of the position I'm in. But whenever I get the chance, I will do, lunches and dinners and just one-on-one meetings so people try to get to know me.
Yeah,
Um, and I love that part of it. So, I mean, if anything, I take their leadership style and I'm amazed at how people from all walks of life will just, you hear their name and they're just saying, oh, we love them, we love them, we love them. And that's special.
it is.
You can't replicate that. You can't.
No.
And at the end of the day, this is a relationship business. This is a relationship business. For them, I want people to meet me and that they've had a good experience, but also feel connected to a broader piece of what I'm working on. And I think that's part of too. Like when I see people taking luxury and global luxury and making it their own, I'm like a proud parent. I'm like, I'm like a proud parent. I'm like, you did it. You did it, sweetie. You did it. I just, I'm like a proud parent. I really am. I love it. I'm a proud parent. Hope that answered it. Hope that answered it.
Yes, it does. I mean, because it's not easy to have your own way, your own road all the time, especially when in leadership. You have to look to other people. So, yeah, you totally answered it.
And by the way, there's so many leaders in this company that I
I
just look up
know.
to in such a huge way. I mean,
Yeah,
everyone from I work with someone named Brandon and David and Liz and Sue and Ryan and everyone. There's so many people that when I hear them speak, and even just where they are in interviews and their quotes, I mean, it's amazing. So there's no lack of inspiration in this company. We are packed with amazing leaders, and it's just great to be with them and to hear them and also they're just also approachable and
yeah,
they're just that's part of why we do what we do. Everyone's
for sure.
approachable.
For sure. So the reason I was laughing is the last question I have for you is what is one thing, one takeaway, or what's one piece of advice or a quote that you can leave with people?
Okay. I do this in all walks of business.
Okay.
And it's just leave a room better than how you found it. I do that when I'm meeting people on a personal level. I do that when I'm meeting people on a professional level. That can be anything from, did I make a difference? How can I make a difference? And what can I do to make it better? Leave a room better than how you found it. I think at the end of the day, people want to do business with people that they genuinely like and know that have their best interests at heart. Again, this applies to work and to life and to everything we do. But I look back at it and I look at my life and I look at the people who've made an impact and who let me be in that room when they were there. And they let me leave that room better than how I found it. They let me excel in that way, and I'm thankful to them. And I think we have to always do that. We just always have to show the kindness and show the appreciation and the support to each other. We work with people, our colleagues. I work with my colleagues more than I see my family.
Yep.
It's the truth. I'm on my computer and my phone.
I mean, right now because she's like, "You're back and we're not playing." I'm like,
You
"Yes, I'm
see,
back. But I'm still
you see,
working."
you see, you need to give her a treat and a bone and everything like
Oh, I
that.
did give her a treat. I promise. When I got back, I did give her a treat. A
Every
little.
call with a pet, I'm always like, bring them into the frame, bring them into the frame.
Come here. Come here.
What kind of
Jump
dog
up
is
here.
it?
Come on. Come
What kind of
on,
dog is
Peanut.
it?
Ugh.
Stop,
All right, we got to
wait.
do this again.
I was going to say, but I saw, oh, how old is that dog?
She is 7.
Oh, she's so
Uh-oh. I'm not
cute.
sure what's gonna go down,
I
but
have the
yeah.
same candle, by the way, totally separate.
Oh, you do?
The
I
same
think
candle.
I've got like 3 or 4 of those now, and
They're
I
great.
just absolutely love them.
They're great. It's always great taste. It's always great taste. But yeah, leave a room
Hopefully,
better than how you found it. That applies to work, that applies to life, it applies to relationships. It's just a mantra that we try to do. And it can be every virtual meeting, it could be anything. But how can we make other people's life more impactful?
well, thank you very much. I'm really glad you did this. I'm really glad that we got to get on and do this again.
Me too. The first time we tried to do this, I was sick as a dog. So this is
I
so much
know.
better.
It's like, oh my goodness. So I'm
Sick
glad it's
as
better.
I had the flu. It was,
Oh, that's
and I got
horrible.
my flu shot. So it was bad. It
Ugh.
was bad. It was
Well,
bad. It was bad.
sorry. It's never good.
I'm good. I'm good now.
At least now, yeah, right?
I've
You'd be
recovered.
like, never again this year.
I've recovered. It's a pleasure, my friend, and thanks for being so incredible and the best part of this company
Absolutely.
and for all you do. We're grateful for you.
Absolutely. I'm very glad that we were able to do this. Really, you're an amazing person, and I'm very thankful that you are in the position where you are at Coldwell and how much you're innovating and how much you're trying to bring into the markets and everything else that you do. So thank you. And again, thank you for being on the show today. I really, really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you soon.
Me too, my friend. Love you soon.
See you soon. Ciao.